Welcome to Children's Worship. Today we're going to talk about being open to change. We're going to hear two stories, one from the Bible and one other one. And I want you to, as you're listening to the stories, think about how the characters in them either are or aren't open to change. How are they open to change, or how are they not open to change? Abram's journey. Abram lived in a big city called Ur. The people of Ur were very rich, and Ur was full of beautiful things. The most famous building in Ur was a ziggurat. Can you say that? Ziggurat. Let me show you what a ziggurat looks like. It is tall and wide and had lots of stairs going right up to the very top. People in Ur went up the stairs of the ziggurat to worship the moon god. That made God very sad. But Abram wasn't like all the other people in Ur. God had a special plan for Abram. One day God said to Abram, "Leave your country and go to a new land that I will show you." Abram did exactly as God said. He packed up all his things on camels and set off for the new land. Abram's family traveled hundreds and hundreds of miles to the new land where God wanted them to live. Have you ever moved to a new place? What was that like? Can you imagine packing all your clothes, toys, and furniture on camels? Week after week they traveled. Finally, they arrived in the land of Canaan. Then God spoke to Abram again and said, "I will give this land to you and your children." Abram looked around to see the land God had given him. There was a big tree nearby, and plenty of grass and water for his animals to eat and drink. Abram was glad to be in his new home at last. Then Abram took big stones and built an altar to God. The altar would remind him of God's promise to give him this new land. Abram built a fire on the altar and worshipped God. We can worship God too. Let's worship God by praying to Him right now. Dear Lord, thank you for leading Abram to a new land where he could worship you. We want to worship you too. Thank you for loving us and guiding us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Julius, the baby of the world. Before Julius was born, Lily was the best big sister in the world. She gave him things, she told him secrets, and she sang lullabies to him every night. After Julius was born, it was a different story. Lily took her things back, she pinched his tail, and she yelled insulting comments into his crib. "I am the queen," said Lily, "and I hate Julius." But her parents loved him. They kissed his wet pink nose, they admired his small black eyes, and they stroked his sweet white fur. Lily thought his wet pink nose was slimy. She thought his small black eyes were beady, and she thought his sweet white fur was not so sweet, especially when he needed his diaper changed. "Julius is the baby of the world," chimed Lily's parents. "Disgusting," said Lily. Lily had to share her room with Julius. "After Julius goes away, do I get my room back?" she asked. "Julius isn't going anywhere," said Lily's mother, and he didn't. He stayed and stayed and stayed. Lily was supposed to be very quiet while Julius slept. "After Julius goes away, can I talk like a normal person again?" she shouted. "Julius isn't going anywhere," said Lily's father. And he didn't. He stayed and stayed and stayed. "We want Julius to grow up to be as extraordinary as you," said Lily's mother. "So we must tell him constantly how beautiful he is and how much we love him." When no one was looking, Lily had her own idea. "We want Julius to grow up to be as clever as you," said Lily's father. "So we must sing him his numbers and letters whenever possible." When no one was looking, Lily had her own idea. Lily's parents were more than a bit doubtful about leaving the two of them alone together. Lily tried to frighten Julius with her nifty disguises. She learned magic and tried to make him disappear. When that didn't work, she simply pretended that he didn't exist. Lily spent more time than usual in the uncooperative chair. Lily's parents showered her with hugs and kisses and treats of all shapes and sizes. They even let her stay up 15 minutes later every night. It didn't matter. Nothing worked. "I am the queen," said Lily, "and I hate Julius." But her parents loved him. They kissed his wet pink nose. They admired his small black eyes, and they stroked his sweet white fur. "Julius is the baby of the world," chimed Lily's parents. "Disgusting," said Lily. Lily's parents were amused when Julius blew a bubble. "Can you believe it?" they exclaimed. But if Lily did the same thing, they said, "Lily, let's mind our manners, please." Lily's parents were dazzled when Julius babbled and gurgled. "Such a vocabulary!" they exclaimed. But if Lily did the exact same thing, they said, "Lily, let's act our age, please." Lily's parents were amazed when Julius screamed. "What lung capacity!" they exclaimed. But if Lily did the exact same thing, they said, "Lily, let's restrain ourselves, please." One morning, while Lily was busy playing opera, her mother said, "Why don't you put some of that verbal exuberance to good use? Why don't you tell Julius a nice story?" "He's too little to understand a story," said Lily. "He can understand in his own way," said Lily's mother. "Okay," said Lily, smiling. Julius, the germ of the world, by me, said Lily. Once upon a time, said Lily, there was a baby. His name was Julius. Julius was really a germ. Julia was like dust under your bed. If he was a number, he would be 0. If he was food, he would be a raisin. 0 is nothing. A raisin tastes like dirt. The end, said Lily. The story earned her 10 minutes in the uncooperative chair. Lily warned her friends, Chester and Wilson and Victor, about babies. Trust me, they're dreadful, she said. She warned strangers about babies too. You will live to regret that bump under your dress, she said. Lily ran away 7 times in one morning. I'm really leaving this time, she called. Who knows where they'll find me? The same afternoon, Lily had a tea party, and everyone came. Everyone but Julius. His invitation must have been lost in the mail, she exclaimed. Lily had glorious dreams about Julius, and ghastly nightmares too. Lily's parents showered her with compliments and praise, and niceties of all shapes and sizes. They even let her drink her juice out of the antique china cup. It didn't matter, nothing worked. I am the queen, said Lily, and I hate Julius. But her parents loved him. They kissed his wet pink nose, they admired his small black eyes, and they stroked his sweet white fur. Julius is the baby of the world, chimed Lily's parents. Disgusting, said Lily. When Lily's mother felt up to it, she planned a festive celebration in honor of Julius. All the relatives came. There was quite a spread. What's the big deal, said Lily. Haven't they all seen a silly lump before? Apparently not. All afternoon the relatives hovered over Julius. They kissed his wet pink nose. They admired his small black eyes. And they stroked his sweet white fur. Disgusting, said Cousin Garland. What? Said Lily. Julius, said Cousin Garland. I think his wet pink nose is slimy. I think his small black eyes are beady. And I think his sweet white fur is not so sweet. He needs his diaper changed. Lily's nose twitched. Her eyes narrowed. Her fur stood on end, and her tail quivered. You're talking about my brother, said Lily. And for your information, his nose is shiny. His eyes are sparkly, and his fur smells like perfume. Cousin Garland was speechless. He can blow bubbles, continued Lily. He can babble and gurgle, and he can scream better than anyone. Cousin Garland tried to slink out of the room. Stop, said Lily. I am the queen. Watch me closely. Lily picked up Julius. She kissed his wet pink nose. She admired his small black eyes, and she stroked his sweet white fur. Your turn, said Lily, handing Julius over to Cousin Garland. Kiss, admire, stroke, Lily commanded. Now repeat after me, said Lily. Julius is the baby of the world. Julius is the baby of the world, said Cousin Garland. Louder, said Lily. Julius is the baby of the world! From then on, he was, in everyone's opinion, especially in Lily's. Now, talk about these questions. What mean things did Lily do? How did she try to get attention? And what made her change her mind?
For this week's activity, we're going to do something called Rangoli. This is a Hindu custom of creating designs that are impermanent. You'll need an assortment of seeds, beans, and grains, and a flat surface. Rather than coloring a picture to take home, you're going to enjoy the design you make and then take it apart again. It is an opportunity to create something beautiful only for the present moment, knowing it will not stay that way. Rangoli are often circular and repetitive, similar to some mandala designs. How did it feel to enjoy the design process and the beauty of your work without something to keep? Could we learn to see every day and every moment as a beautiful experience that is to be enjoyed and let go? We had a lot of changes with COVID-19. Can you think of something that changed for you during COVID-19? Or maybe something that changed for you this past week? Once you've thought of that, I want you to think about something you could change this next week. Maybe you walk a new way to school, or sit beside someone you don't know at lunch, try a new food, or read before bed instead of watching TV. Sometimes big changes can be easier if we practice with little changes. Little changes can help us understand that we are strong and adaptable and that change can sometimes be fun. Choosing to make a change is also proven to be good for our brains. It's like an exercise for our brain. Brain research shows us that our brains are made to adapt and change with new experiences. Remember, though, that it's only outer things that change. Our spirit is changeless. The Lord said to Abram, "Go from your country, from your people, from your father's homeland, to the land I will show you, the land of Canaan. Take your wife Sarai and your nephew Lot. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you, make your name great. I will bless all those who bless you, and all peoples will be blessed through you." The Lord said to Abram, "Don't be afraid. I'm your shield, I'm your great reward. I will give you a child, offspring like the stars. Your descendants will be numerous. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you, make your name great. I will bless all those who bless you, and all people will be blessed through you." The Lord said to Abram, "Take your only son, sacrifice him as an offering." Then the Lord gave to Abram a ram to use instead. Abram trusted, and the Lord provided. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you, make your name great. I will bless all those who bless you, and all peoples will be blessed through you. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you, make your name great. I will bless all those who bless you, and all peoples will be blessed through you.